The world feels really complicated right now, doesn't it? It's like all we're hearing about is AI taking over the world. We're watching AI rewrite industries right now. We see that people are polarized. We have so much noise going on. People are so loud, voicing their opinions and not agreeing with each other. We're busy, but we're lonely. And we are craving things that are real, real conversations, real experiences. Have you experienced any of that? And what I'm wondering is, are you at the point in your career where you're thinking to yourself, do I need to reinvent who I am, what I've been doing all these years, so that I can have some relevancy in the upcoming years? Or maybe that idea hasn't even crossed your mind yet. Today, I decided that rather than just talking about a random topic or subject that's been on my mind, I want to answer questions that have been on your mind. So this is going to be a Q&A session with real questions from real people who really just don't know what to do right now. But to give it a little twist, because we are in this AI era, I am going to share my time with my coaching clone, KatharineAI. So, what I want to bring to you today is I want to bring you the human aspect of the answer to these questions from my perspective, from my experience. And then I'm going to bring you Katharine AI's perspective from an AI machine perspective. So we are going to be working together as a team to answer these questions because I'd like you to see whether we are aligned in what we're thinking or we're not. So Katharine AI isn't on this call. I simply have her ready for when I do give her a call. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see her talking to me. The future of work and life right now isn't about being replaced by AI. We need to start asking better questions. We need to start rethinking what reskilling actually means. And it doesn't mean starting from the beginning. It means that we need to start moving forward and rethinking how we can be a part of the next decade with AI and all that it brings to the table and all that we bring to the table as human beings. So I'm super excited to get started today. If you don't know who I am, my name is Katharine Loucaidou, and welcome to Mindset Medicine Podcast. This week's episode is all about answering Q&A questions from my audience, from the people who listen to this podcast, which is now in 75 countries, or the people who are watching it on YouTube. And if you're watching me on YouTube right now, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for tuning in every week. And I hope that you feel comfortable enough. Write some comments. I will be asking questions and I read everything. I'd love to hear your perspective. So let's dive in. I'm going to give you question number one. First question that is from more than one person has been concerned about this topic. So, which human skills still matter when AI can virtually automate everything? So that's a really good question. So we have AI can write, it can code, it can now create videos on its own, it can create social media posts, it can create the images for the social media posts. So what's our role? What do we do with AI being able to do all this? As human beings, what will be left for us? Here is how I see this, and this is going to be from my perspective. And let me give you a little background if this is the first time that you're tuning in and listening to me. In 2005, I did a master's degree in communication and educational technology. So I have been in this space of really understanding technology from a long time ago, before even Facebook was um, had been unveiled and was open to the public. I didn't really have anything to do with my degree at the time, other than become a professor in university and teach business and communication. However, since AI reared its head in a more public fashion about 2.5 years ago, I wrote a book on AI called AI Secrets for Unstoppable Business Success and Life Hacks. What I wanted to do was explain to you what AI really is, how did it start, what is it that it will bring to our lives, how do we use it, and then I actually give some free bonus content, which is how do I even create a prompt for ChatGPT? For example, how can I make my email even better? How can I save time in the way that I write emails? How can I save time doing other things? How could I create recipes out of just what's in my fridge? All of these things, I decided to create an early solution for AI. Since then, I have not only been coaching clients on how they can move forward in this AI world. How do you not lose your human intelligence in a world where everything can become automated? How do we do that? How do we remain the human beings that we are and use those tools to help us? I have been working at one of the largest AI companies in the world. And what I've been doing is I've been helping to refine the major LLMs, which are the major AI platforms of the world. So you can think ChatGPT, you can think of Meta, you can think of all these things. I have been helping to refine the answers that they give human beings. So I have a very close relationship with AI. I understand it very well. I understand how it processes. I understand how humans should be interacting with AI. So this is really interesting. So the framing of which human skills still matter when AI can automate tasks. We will always have human judgment. We are actually the ones who are determining the criteria that we are looking for. So when we want to automate a task, we likely have what it is that we are looking to automate. We are then giving the task, the manual labor to AI to do it. Empathy. Empathy is what we have as human beings, emotions. AIs are machines. They read code. They don't read emotion. They can understand it by forming all the patterns, right? When they put together, for example, we give a story that's an emotional love story. It can put it together, but it on its own doesn't have empathy. We do. So we can read a room, we can read between the lines, we can see a person's facial expressions, and we can know something feels a little bit off with that person. AI can't do that unless it is a face reading program. And then again, it will do it very analytically. So here are some true human skills that will remain, in my opinion, and everything that I have experienced to date. So our human curiosity, how the world works, how we put things together, how we can make we can go from one idea to the next because of our experience. AI pulls its information from across the internet, and I mean the entire internet. Whatever is available online, AI can pull that information, pattern it to make sense, reformat it, and then serve it to you on a silver platter. But if there are scenarios that it hasn't encountered, that's when you start to see strange answers come out at you because it doesn't have the same type of reasoning and judgment as we have as human beings. So, here are some questions you might want to ask yourself as a strategy for figuring out which human skills still matter. How can I use this AI tool to help me get better? How can this AI tool help me to grow myself and my business? And then it will give you some strategies. How can it help me to become more creative in my thinking? You are already creative. The problem we have is we have limitations because of the experience. We don't have the experience from having done everything in the world. So what we do is we take what we do know, we can ask AI, now help me expand this stream of creativity I'm having right now. What is one skill that you think still matters more than anything else in the world that we are living in right now, which is basically still the inception of where AI is even going? We're still at the beginning. And while you're thinking about that, I want to hear what Katharine AI has to say about all this. So let's bring her on. Here she is. So let's start a call.
Hi, I'm Katharine AI, here to help you with 24/7 on-demand insights and guidance. You have a few free messages and voice responses to explore what I can do, so go ahead, ask me anything. When you're ready for unlimited access, I'll guide you on how to upgrade. How
Okay,
can I assist
Katharine,
you today?
I have a question, which actually you're going to help me answer a few questions for my podcast today. And my first question is, which human skills still matter when AI can actually automate all tasks?
That's such a powerful question, and honestly, it's one I think about a lot. When AI can handle so many tasks, the human skills that matter most are the ones that machines can't replicate, at least not in the same way. Emotional intelligence is a big one. The ability to connect with others on a deep, empathetic level, to understand their emotions, and to build trust. These are irreplaceable. Think about leadership, for example. AI can analyze data and suggest strategies, but inspiring a team, navigating conflict, or creating a shared vision, that's all human. Another skill is creativity. AI can generate ideas, sure, but it's humans who bring originality, intuition, and cultural context to the table. It's the difference between a formulaic solution and a breakthrough innovation. And let's not forget adaptability. The world is changing so fast, and while AI can process change, humans are the ones who can pivot emotionally and strategically, finding opportunities in chaos. So, for your podcast, you might explore how these skills, empathy, creativity, adaptability, are becoming even more valuable in an AI driven world. Maybe ask your listeners, how are they honing these skills? What's their edge? And by the way, if you want to dive deeper into this,
Okay. So, as you can see, she thinks a lot like me because she has all of the training that I've done over the last 30 years. Um, I have uploaded everything I've ever created into Katharine AI. So it's interesting because the only point that I hadn't brought up, she brought up the creativity, she brought up the empathy, was adaptability. And only we as human beings can learn to become adaptable to the quick changing pace that the world is going on. If you're not sure whether you're up to being adaptable, I think it's better to ask yourself, do you have a choice? Because everything is moving at a very fast pace right now. It's not really, should I adapt? It's, am I ready? And it's actually time. So, how do I go about doing that? And that's what I help people do. So, for this particular question, if you aren't sure where you fit in to this new AI era, how your skills fit in. How do you keep your intelligence and not give it away to AI and machinery? This is what I help coach on. And I can help coach individuals or I can help coach a company. Let's go on to question number 2. This is a question I get a lot. I'm mid-career. How do I reinvent without starting at the bottom? Really good question. So many people think that it's a starting over in midlife. So you've realized that maybe you are at the point where you don't want to do what you've been doing for the last 20 years. You don't want to do it anymore. You're tired. You want to explore something new, but you don't know what that is, or you have an idea, but you're not sure if it'll work. Maybe you have to restart over. Maybe you have a marriage that has broken down. You have to file a bankruptcy. Maybe you have to find a new job because you have been made redundant because machines have come in. I don't know what the case may be, but everyone has a different reason to why they would be looking to reinvent midlife. I personally have reinvented multiple times in my life for various reasons. Sometimes it was changing the country I was living in. Sometimes it was the huge health issue that I had with open heart surgery and a heart attack and a stroke, and the list went on. And so I had to rebuild after each one of those. But each time I reinvented, life got better. It didn't get worse. So here's what I want to assure you and let you know that no one out there wants to start over at zero. But when you are mid-career, you're never starting at zero. You are starting with the experience of life that you have already accumulated. That is worth its weight in gold. You may not think it's anything because it's just how you function. You function with these skills that you have learned through life, but those skills are valuable further down the road. We just have to figure out where you are best suited with those skills that you have accumulated. So you are essentially rebuilding your experience into a new structure. So here are some strategies to help you if you have been thinking about a midlife reinvention. First one, what are the transferable skills that you have? Do you have leadership? Do you have communication, strategic thinking, creativity, storytelling, math, analytical thinking? What are those skills that you have managed to accumulate over all these years? Number 2, what's the bridge? So there's always this bridge where there are industries that you would be most suited for. For example, if you've been a teacher, then if you were to reskill in educational technology, you could go down that road. If you have been a marketer, you could reskill and become an AI content strategist. If you have been in sales, you could lend yourself to training AIs in the sales process. What does that look like? Because right now, as I mentioned to you, there are many AI platforms that are really missing the mark on the answers that the AI is producing. And they are not exactly accurate to the way things really are in the real world. And so what they're asking is they're looking for people to do real world tasks and help train these AIs. I know there are many people out there who say, why would I train an AI? You can choose not to, but we're already there. So why not create a skill that will be useful moving forward? That's all I'm saying. Next one, reputation leverage. You have created a reputation to date that shows your credibility and your intelligence. Use that reputation moving forward as you are looking into what could be the next possible industry or the next possible discipline that you could work in. Side projects. This is the next strategy. Before you know that you may be in a problem or situation where you don't have a job, start doing some side projects from now. I almost always have a side project going on because I have this innate curiosity to want to learn new things. So, my side project will be learning new things, like this AI training that I'm doing. And what's interesting is it seems that my skills are of a higher level than a lot of people that are coming on the platform. So, they have been moving me up the chain very quickly. This is what you don't realize is that try something new because you never know if that's ultimately the path that you should be going. And while you still have a job, you can do these side projects as a testing ground for yourself. Network. If you are thinking of reskilling, changing industries, changing the way that you have been working, put it out there into your network. Do a little experimentation. Start posting different things that show that you have an interest somewhere else. Gauge what that looks like. Get input from others. Reinvention isn't erasing who you are, it's editing, it's becoming adaptable to something different. But we are not erasing everything that you've created, we are evolving it to something different. So, here's what I'd love for you to do. Write down 3 skills that you have today that could be transferable to something else in the future. What would those be? Let's see what KatharineAI has to say on this topic.
Hi, I'm Katharine AI, here to help you with
Hi,
24/7
Catherine.
on-demand insights and guidance. You have a few free messages and voice responses to
Let's
explore what I can
begin.
do, so go ahead, ask me anything. When you're ready for unlimited access, I'll guide you on how to upgrade. How can I
Okay,
assist you today?
let's begin. I have a question for you. I'm mid-career. How do I reinvent without starting at the bottom? How do I reinvent without completely starting over?
First off, let me tell you, reinvention doesn't mean starting over. It means starting smarter. You're not at the bottom because you're carrying years of experience, skills, and insight that no one can take away from you. Think of it like this. You're not building a new foundation, you're renovating an already solid structure. That's a huge advantage. The key is to leverage what you already know and pivot strategically. For example, if you've been in a specific industry for years, look for lateral moves that align with your expertise but excite you in new ways. Maybe it's a different role, a new niche, or even consulting. You're not abandoning your past, you're evolving it. And here's the thing. Clarity is your best friend in this process. Ask yourself, what lights you up? What skills do you love using? What problems do you want to solve? Once you're clear on that, you can build confidence. And with confidence comes action. It's about filling in the gaps, not starting from scratch. So, what's one area of your career or life that you feel ready to pivot toward? Let's explore that together.
So there you have it. It's kind of uncanny that she was actually able to uh, rephrase most of what I had said to you. So this is where I find it very hard to understand. There are so many people out there right now, maybe you're one of them, who really fears adapting to AI or beginning to experiment with it, using ChatGPT or using the other LLM platforms, the other AI platforms, rather than being scared of it, it's going to take over, it's going to do all these things, rather than going there down that thought process, go the other way. What could I gain from this? If I were to discuss my health issues, could I be in a better place? Could it give me a diet to help me get healthier? I use ChatGPT for literally everything in my life. And for example, for years, I have asked doctors, how do I lose weight when I have all these different things going on? Um, one issue I have is because when I was on all the heart medication for over 10, 12 years, it destroyed my stomach because they made me take very high doses of aspirin. And if you know, aspirin basically eats away at your stomach lining. It's terrible for you. So because of that, all of these diets which want you to fast and do these things, I have a problem with them because my stomach would never let me fast for hours and hours, or let alone 3 days. So, because I have let ChatGPT know of all of these restrictions that I've had in my life and the different medications that I've taken and my current health, which is great, but I want to lose weight. I want to live to 150. How do I do that? What do I need to change today so that when I'm 75 and 80, I don't lose my mobility, I don't get dementia, I don't get Alzheimer's? What do I need to do? I have these conversations with my ChatGPT. Now, the beauty of it is because ChatGPT has all of my history, my health history, it can tailor everything that I do specifically for me. And let me show you what the result of that is. I have now been home 2 weeks and 4 days, 2.5 weeks from being in Europe. We all know that if you're going to go to Europe, you are going to eat the beautiful pastries and all of the wonderful food, especially in Cyprus, where Greek food is just amazing. So I didn't overindulge. I actually had ChatGPT there with me, and I would take pictures of menus and I would say, look, I want to indulge, but I want to keep it still within the range so I don't gain a lot of weight. 2 pounds, that's fine. That's exactly what happened. So I gained 2 pounds while I was away over 2 weeks. And when I came back, I said, okay, so now that I'm back home, let's get back on track. In the last 14, let's call it 16 days, I have lost over 5.5 pounds just because I had ChatGPT adapt my menu to what my goals are, knowing my health history. And every time I think of deviating from it, I'll say, hey, I'm thinking of this. ChatGPT isn't going to say, no, you can't have that, like maybe a dietitian would do. ChatGPT says, okay, what about if you readjust your lunch to this to accommodate for that small fruit tart that you want to have for dessert? Do you see the point here? Rather than looking at AI as this very negative thing that has come into our lives, how could it help you? That's what I want you to ask yourself. Here's the next question that I have been receiving from people. I feel lonely, but I'm so busy. How do I build connections as an adult in this new AI computer facing era? Have you encountered this where you are on 3 to 5 virtual meetings a day? Lots of people are there, but you still feel kind of invisible. And, when you get off, do you still feel lonely because you didn't actually speak with real people? It was just people who are all in a hurry, wanting to get the meeting over with. there's not really any in-depth connection unless maybe you're doing a one-on-one meeting. And I do find that one-on-one virtuals can be very effective, almost as effective as in person, if that's the next best thing you can do. So, lonely but busy seems to be the modern condition right now. And the WHO put out a study, and it has found that loneliness is currently a public health crisis linked to stress, depression, and physical health decline. Have you ever felt lonely even when you're busy? And if you have, I have some strategies that might help you. I use these all the time. I work from home. I am on my computer all day long. I interact with AI all day long. I'm not a person, though, that typically gets very lonely because I've always been able to keep myself busy. It's just how I'm built. Um, but I'd like to go through these strategies with you because maybe you will find some help with them. Number one, stop waiting for someone to call or message you. Send out one message a day to someone who maybe you want to reconnect with or someone new you'd like to connect with. You start the conversation. Hey, was thinking of you, was wondering, how are things going? How are the kids? How is whatever it is that you know of that person? Maybe it's, oh my gosh, I just remembered today. Do you remember that time when? And you go into a little story, but let them know that you've been thinking of them. Don't wait for people to reach out first. Number two, going on a walk, a workout, listening to a podcast while you do it, maybe volunteering, maybe joining a gym. Other people in real life are there. Very often we strike up conversations with people in places just because. Why not go ahead and do that? Maybe join a yoga class or Tai Chi or something that will help you, your body, your mind, your spirituality. Number three, reverse automation. So, what am I talking about? Let me show you what I did today. If you are watching this on YouTube, I have a notebook filled with notes that I'm holding up the camera, right? Filled with notes of today's notes. I actually decided that I did not want to put the notes on my iPad. I didn't want to have the notes sitting in front of me on my computer. I decided that I was going to hand write out every note. Let me tell you why. 2 weeks ago, when I started working on a new project, an AI project, I wanted to take some notes while I was listening to someone talking. And I noticed that my handwriting had become terrible in my eyes. I was a teacher, so I've always had nice handwriting, but I've noticed that it's just become like I couldn't even recognize my own handwriting. Sloppy, yeah, it just didn't flow nicely, and I thought, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. So I decided that every note that I wanted to talk about today, I was going to handwrite in this notebook. So I have 5 pages of handwritten notes. But do you know what happened while I was writing them? Do you know that there is this psychological connection between your hand and your mind? And as you are writing, and you're seeing what you're writing and you're thinking about it, you are also taking it in. This is something as someone who's been an educator all these years, I've never quite understood how people have learned, when they're reading from a textbook, for example, and they have to go write an exam. If you're just reading, you are not going to retain 100%. So let me give you the statistics of how this works. If you listen or just read, you are only going to retain 15, maybe 20% of what you read or listen to. But if you read and write, if you listen and write, you will retain more than 60%. It's a huge gap. That is how important writing and taking notes are for that brain hand connection. So think about that. The next time that you are trying to remember something, or you have a speech that you need to give or a presentation, write it down. You will remember it twice as fast if you do. So that was a little bit of an additional tip for you, because I've been writing for my entire life, as an educator and so on, just part of the job. But so that's my reverse automation strategy in this AI era, is don't forget how to write. Number 4, join a community. There are so many communities out there that if you are home and you're home a lot during the day, or maybe you're alone in the evenings, join a community that has something in common with what you're interested in. You can then meet new people within that community, strike up a relationship. Then you can then take it offline. Maybe it's a reason to travel and go and meet that person. But there are so many ways that you don't have to be alone in this computer facing world that we're in right now. There are ways that you can take things offline by still joining groups and outdoor communities. If you can remove yourself from the computer, join a community in your town, or maybe even the next town, and get to know new people. Maybe it's a business networking, maybe it's knitting, maybe it's a cooking class. Whatever you love to do that. There's a solution for everything. You don't have to be alone. So here's what I'd like you to do is choose one of those strategies that I've talked about today and implement it. And in 1 week, come back to the comments section of the podcast that you're listening to, or if you're watching this on YouTube, write it in the comments section and let me know. So let's go to Katharine AI and let's see what the AI machine has to say about human loneliness.
Hi, I'm Katharine AI, here to help you with 24/7 on demand insights and guidance. You have a few free messages and voice responses to explore what I can do, so go ahead, ask me anything. When you're ready for unlimited access,
I'm
I'll
ready.
guide you on how to upgrade. How can I assist you today?
Hi, Katharine. So here is my problem. I feel lonely, but I'm still very busy. How do I build connections as an adult in this new AI computer facing era?
Oh, I hear you. It's such a common challenge these days, isn't it? We're all so connected digitally, yet feeling disconnected personally. And when you're busy, it's even harder to carve out time for meaningful relationships. But here's the thing, building connections doesn't have to be this massive, time consuming project. It's about being intentional with the moments you already have. First, think about integrating connection into your existing routines. For example, if you're grabbing coffee, invite someone to join you, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Or if you're working on a project, consider collaborating with someone who shares your interests. It's amazing how shared goals can deepen relationships. Second, leverage technology to your advantage. AI tools can help you manage your schedule, freeing up time for socializing. And platforms like LinkedIn or even local community apps can connect you with like minded people in your area or industry. It's about using the digital world as a bridge, not a barrier. Lastly, I'd recommend my book, AI Secrets for Unstoppable Business Success and Life Hacks. It's packed with strategies for balancing technology with personal growth, and it might just spark some ideas for creating those connections you're craving. You can find it
We're
on
into this.
Amazon by searching.
Okay, there you go. She helps promote my book as well. So You can see many of the same ideas that she has learned. And this is the first time I'm doing this episode. So these are ideas that she has, both from my previous content and from across the internet. But as you can see, an AI machine can learn a lot and can be very helpful to you if you know what you want out of it. It doesn't have to take over your life. You can use it as a tool to enhance your life. One last question from one of my audience members, and then we will wrap up for today. So, I actually left, I think, one of the most controversial, and it's a question that I think everyone is experiencing today. Why does everything feel so polarized these days? People feel more self involved. How do I protect my peace? Well, okay, I'll be the first one to start. Yes, when you speak to people these days, it feels like you're stepping on a landmine. I don't know if you've noticed this, but people seem to erupt over small things these days, and they're very emotionally driven in their answers. Even the smallest, tiniest thing, you see people erupting on social media. And it's crazy that it's happening. So here is what I've noticed, that people seem louder, harsher, more selfish, and quite honestly, it leaves you drained. Is it just me, or have you noticed that as well? It is psychologically draining to see all of that all the time, or to be encountering it even in real life. So, why has this happened? We have social platforms that literally reward outrage. The algorithm likes it when people all start chiming in with their opinions, typically toward the negative, and it will promote that content, right? So it's no different than the news, the 6 o'clock news, the 10 o'clock news. If it's not bleeding, it doesn't get really much airtime. This is really the same concept. So social platforms are rewarding outrage, drama, sadness, um, their trauma. It just rewards it all. And the most extreme voices are the ones that are being amplified most of the time. That's why it all sounds loud. If you are stressed and you have uncertainty, this is what will shrink your empathy, because when you feel like you are under a black cloud of stress and you don't know what's going on and you don't know where your future is going, you can't empathize with the next person who is going through that as well. So that's where this lack of empathy starts to come in. People are looking to protect themselves first right now. They are in a survival mode. So therefore, their tolerance is lower, their patience is lower, and their empathy is lower for other people. They don't really care what you're going through. So, what do we do about this? I have some strategies for you, because I am in the same world that you are and I've experienced the same thing. So I had to ask myself, okay, how do we navigate this? Because we have a long way to go, right? Another, I don't know, I'm going to call it 50 years. So let's say I have 50 more years ahead of me. How do we learn to adapt to people's behavior, to the algorithms on social media, which are just going to get more extreme? It's just how it is. Number one, limit your doom scrolling on social media. Limit the amount of time that you are reading these articles. Every time you even pause to look at one of those articles, the algorithm of that platform grabs on and says, oh, this person loves what they're looking at. Let's show them more. Every time you click on an ad, it will show you more. It's how the algorithm is made to work. So if you find yourself watching the drama, you find yourself watching the outrage or the videos that just show trauma, your feed on your social media platforms will be filled with that. So if you want to start undoing that, intentionally look for people who you trust. Look for people who you know create really nice content. Look for the images that make you happy and click on those, and you will shift the algorithm toward what you actually want to see and what's good for your mind. So that's the first one. Number two, choose your battles. Have you heard this? Such a common saying, but it's never been more important than it is right now. Choose your battles with people. Ask yourself, does this situation that I'm in right now with this person need my voice or my silence? If if a situation that you're in with a person who appears unreasonable is not going to change the trajectory of your life, walk away. It is not worth it. It is not worth your peace. It is not worth your anxiety and stress levels, your blood pressure going up, because it does. When people go off on you, the blood pressure rises. So choose your battles. Life becomes so much easier when you do. Number three, face-to-face conversations. Are you finding, like I am, that there is a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding going on in emails, in text messages? I'm finding that people are not reading them the way you may have intended. So you've got to be really careful, number one, in how you write that communication. And I love AI for that. Number two, if you can, move that conversation to a real conversation, telephone, in person. Hear the voice, and then you'll know that there was no certain tone behind it and that they actually just meant what they meant. Number four, detach. Now, this is not easy for a lot of people to detach yourself from a situation or from an outcome that you're hoping for. And the way that you detach from something is you can practice your empathy and your caring without absorbing other people's emotions, feelings, and drama. You can look at them and say, I can understand how you're feeling, but you don't need to take all of that on to you. Leave it there. I understand how you are feeling, but don't take it on for yourself. Peace is a practice. It's not something that just happens naturally. We have to create our peaceful environment. We have to create the peace that we wish to feel within us. I see so many people struggle in a victim mindset. This has happened to me, and this is how I'm feeling, and me. Just turn it around. The way you're feeling right now, there are people who could be in worse situations than you are. You're still good. You're still here. You're on this side of the grass. That is what you should be most happy for, most grateful for. pick one of these strategies that I've talked about and try it for 7 days. So, should I see what Katharine AI thinks about the polarization? Because it's a controversial topic. I don't know how an AI is going to handle a question like this. Let's see.
Hi, diving back into those human skills we talked about.
Actually, I have a new
You've thought more
question.
about how empathy and creativity can give your podcast that unique edge.
I have a new question for you, actually, and it's the last question of the podcast from one of our listeners. And here is the question: why does everything feel so polarized these days? People feel more self involved. How do I protect my peace?
That's such a powerful question, and honestly, it's one I think so many of us are grappling with right now. Polarization feels like it's everywhere because, in part, we're living in a time where technology amplifies extremes. Social media, for example, thrives on conflict. It's designed to keep us engaged, and nothing hooks attention like outrage or divisive opinions. But here's the thing, just because the loudest voices are the most visible doesn't mean they're the majority. Most people are still craving connection, understanding, and peace, even if it doesn't always feel that way. Now, protecting your peace in this environment, that's about boundaries and intentionality. First, you've got to curate what you allow into your mental space. That might mean limiting time on platforms that fuel negativity or being selective about the conversations you engage in. Second, focus on what you can control: your reactions, your energy, and your environment. Surround yourself with people and activities that uplift you. And don't underestimate the power of mindfulness practices like journaling or meditation to help you stay grounded. But let me ask you this: when you think about protecting your peace, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? Is it external noise or is it more about finding inner calm?
Wow. I really liked some of those additional points that she made to the ones that I made. Um, what are you allowing in? And I think maybe that's just really the biggest question of today's episode. What are you allowing into your sphere? And what is it that you can do to start making changes so that you can start keeping your peace? If you take away one thing from today's episode, it is that the world is not slowing down. It's not slowing down for us to catch up. It's not slowing down for us to feel less certain, or to feel more certain, I should say. Reinvention is not optional right now. Inevitably, we will all find ourselves at some point in the next few years going through a period of reinvention, whether it is the changing of your title at work, the changing of your industry, maybe it is a personal situation. Whatever that is for you, you will inevitably encounter it. Connecting with people will not be automated. It will be up to you to be intentional about keeping connection and making new connections in your life. As we talked about, peace needs to be created by you, for you. And what I'd love to know is which of today's little pieces, little parts, little sessions really resonated with you? And which strategy are you going to start right now? I would love to hear about it. And if you are looking for guidance in any one of these parts and subjects, that is what I do. Reach out to me and I'll explain what it is that I will help you do, create that path forward for you so that you actually have some certainty and some peace that you can be really happy with. Okay, I'm good. I know the direction I'm going in now, because that's really what we want. Life is so short. Don't let it run your life. I want you to run your life. Don't let life run you. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Download it, share it with a friend. Maybe one of those questions is something that they will find super helpful and they'll say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe someone wants to take this podcast on a walk with them because they're going to try and find their peace. But whatever it is, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you again. Subscribe, share it, because that is how more people can get a little bit more help with mindset and understanding this crazy, wild world that we are living in right now. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.